guys, it's Rodimus Primal. I'm back with another video, and today I'm reviewing a game that holds a special place for me, as I've been a Kaiju fan as long as I've been a Transformers fan. If any of you saw my review of Kong Skull Island, you'll know what I'm talking about. As such, I'm reviewing Godzilla for the NES. Now, before I continue, I want to dedicate this video to Hiro Nakajima. He was the original suit actor to portray Godzilla, and continued to do so up until Godzilla vs. Gigan. It has been reported that he had passed away on August 7th, and he was 88. My deepest condolences to the family of Mr. Nakajima. I had the opportunity to meet him back at New York Comic Con in 2015, alongside Kenpacho Satsuma, who was the actor who portrayed Godzilla in the Heisei series, and battled Nakajima's Godzilla as both Hedorah and Gigan. Both of them were an absolute joy to meet, and they signed my DVDs as well. Hiro Nakajima, you will certainly be missed.
Godzilla Monster of Monsters was developed by a small company known as Compile and published by Toho. It was released here in October of 1989 and is a single-player action game starring the King of the Monsters himself, as well as a selection of Toho monsters and vehicles. The story is that the people of Planet X, yes, those same aliens from Godzilla vs. Monster Zero, have returned to conquer the Earth. Together with a fleet of ships and a legion of monsters, this time they've come prepared. To save us, Godzilla teams up with Mothra to do battle with the forces of Planet X. The music is catchy, and some of the stages might actually get stuck in your head. It goes to show that the NES was fully capable of great game music, even if you didn't already know that playing Mega Man, Zelda, or Castlevania. One thing to take note is that the Japanese version has a different title screen using the classic Godzilla theme by Akira Ifukube. Also, the Japanese version's story crawl in the beginning uses another familiar tune. The US version doesn't use those tunes, but they can be heard in the sound test by entering sound with a 0 instead of an O in the password screen. Both Godzilla and Mothra are playable characters. Godzilla, who you'll most likely want to play as through most of it, has a variety of attacks. The A button will attack with his claws, while the B button will kick. If you press down to duck and press B, he will swing and attack with his tail. Pressing up will jump and is very fluid even though there is no sprite to jump with. Strangely, the start button is used for Godzilla to pull back and blast some of his atomic breath, which is an amazingly strong attack. Using it will deplete an energy meter that begins to recharge right away. You'll want to use this a lot when there is a lot of enemies on screen and against bosses. Mothra is the best. She can fly over objects. She has the best simple attack shooting red balls. And pressing the start button has an amazing attack that drops moth wings.
Who am I kidding? Playing as Mothra sucks.
Sure, she can fly, but if she gets hit, she gets knocked down backwards into a corner. And if you avoided fighting something, getting knocked back is like a death trap. Sometimes missiles will come out of nowhere to keep you from flying over everything. Come on, move! Arrgh! So you have to fight everything just like Godzilla does. And it's so freaking tedious! Her red ball attack has a shorter range than Samus in the first Metroid game, and it barely does anything. Her wing attack is your only hope to progress, but it barely goes diagonally down and it depletes your energy meter quickly. So, it's back to shooting red balls. The purpose to each level is to beat the monsters and conquer the enemy base at the end in order to move on. You begin on the opposite side of what looks like a giant chessboard, although I think it looks more like the game Settlers of Catan. You can select one of the monsters and move them across the spaces, and then you play through a stage corresponding to the space you went across. The stages themselves are simple to go through, but man, the people of Planet X are throwing everything at you. More things are flying at you than the NES can even handle sometimes, and you'll notice a lot of enemies will flicker and the game will slightly slow down. Not like it's not a slow-paced game to begin with. It's a hardware limitation on the original Nintendo with a lot of games, and growing up, it was one of the many things we had to deal with. After completing the stages, it's the enemy monster's turn to move as they advance towards you. Eventually you face them, and why the heck is Gezora and Mogera in this game? While they are Toho monsters, they never were in a Godzilla movie when this game came out. They're easy to beat, and in fact, Mogera is glitched in the US version. If you whack him with your tail, he'll retreat into the corner and won't move until you beat him into submission. Once you beat the monsters, you continue on the level to get the enemy base to go to the next level. Ah, here we go. Godzilla wins. He conquers the base and... Wait. I have to get Mothra to get there now? Oh, this is gonna take a while. Each level corresponds to a planet in the solar system, and a new monster is added in addition to Mogera and Gezora. It's almost like these two are the henchmen monsters. Think of Bebop and Rocksteady in Ninja Turtles, or Cutman and Gutsman in the Ruby Spears Mega Man cartoon. Eventually you face familiar monsters like Hedorah, Gigan, and Mechagodzilla. The worst part about this is the levels themselves get really old really quickly. You have to go through every planet in the solar system, including Pluto. Yes, it's still a planet in my eyes, dang it. And almost every one of them feels like an eternity to play through. On Planet X, the final stage, King Ghidorah awaits you after you face every monster on a level that's like a hallway of doom. And boy is he hard. He likes to tangle you in the corner so you can't move, and drains your life. Come on, get out of there! Whew, thank God for that time limit. Yeah, if you've seen the infamous AVGN episode reviewing this game, you probably noticed he hated the time limit. In some ways, it's the worst. You're about to beat a monster, and the timer stops you. Then it's the monster's turn, and they've regained some life. This is exacerbated even further when you're facing a monster while playing as Mothra. And we all know how long it takes her to do anything. However, facing King Ghidorah can actually be easier if you follow this strategy. Get as close as you can to Ghidorah with Godzilla. Approach him, and when it asks you if you will face him, say no. After your turn, King Ghidorah will take his and attack you. Do your best against him with kicks and punches to his heads. Give me your faces. And blasts from your atomic breath. If you survive his onslaught, when the timer runs out, it will be your turn again. Move Godzilla one space either up or down, and say no again to attacking Ghidorah. It will give you the chance to regain some health and beat that space monster back to the bowels from which he came. The ending shows Godzilla and Mothra reflecting their battle as they plan on returning to Earth. They are as exhausted as you probably are if you patiently got through this game like I did. Also, if you want a real challenge, enter the password Destroy All Monsters to face every monster on the first level, Earth, with King Ghidorah at the end, and then the game continues through the rest of the levels. Overall, the game seems like a lot of fun at first, especially being able to play as Godzilla. But it's long and tediously repetitive. But I played the heck out of it as a kid. I think I give it a 6.5 Godzilla stepping on Bambis out of 10. I hope you've enjoyed this game review. If so, like and subscribe. Leave your thoughts in the comments section below. Again, I want to give my condolences to the family of Mr. Nakajima. I have more videos like this coming soon, so stay tuned. And as always, until next time.